Good morning, everyone. Chris Anaskovich can't be here today, so I will be sitting in for him, and I would like to invite everybody to rise and say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Are there any visitors that would like to speak at this point?
I guess that's me, right?
Well, there is a senior program update as agenda item 5,
Okay.
so that might be when you would
Help me.
want to participate. Okay, so do I hear a motion regarding the approval of the minutes of November 16th, 2022?
So moved?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, motion carries. Item number 4, appointments and reappointments. There are none this morning, so we will move on to item number 5, senior program update from our esteemed coordinator, Christina Acapora.
All right.
Does everybody know Christina? Had the
Hi.
chance to meet her? Christina is the
How are you?
recent inductee into this role, and I just have to tell you, she's phenomenal.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I hope it worked out. Yes, I did.
Thank
Was it
you.
Susan? You know her.
Yep. You one for yourself? You good? Yeah, I do. Thanks. Do you want me to stand?
Yes, please, if you would stand somewhere near that
Okay.
recording device.
Yeah, so hi, I'm Christina Acampora. I took the job, I guess it was July of this past year. And so for you, I just prepared just some facts and some stats and how the first little under 6 months of the program has been going. So some numbers that might interest you. There's 250 residents, mostly Clinton residents, but there are some other out-of-towners that come to my events. The database started at 0, so by that I mean nobody lent me a list, or I didn't get, a library list, or, something with that demographic. We started from nothing and grew it organically. One user at a time, just subscribing, either me adding them requesting to be added. I have an opt-in feature. So I try to give them a lot of options. I'm on the town site, and that's how seniors have been finding out of the program. Once they subscribe, then they can get, I do a monthly newsletter, I do lots of events that I email out, and I communicate mostly through email, but also I use, the other formats, because this is a demographic, probably the one demographic in town that will have the widest variety of getting their information. So whether it's the Harbor News, the town website, Facebook, there's an app, there's a platform called Nextdoor. I try to hit them all. And I also try to appeal to folks that are senior age that don't identify as seniors. And that's where it's been most successful, because there's a lot of active people over 55, 60, over 65, who are looking for things to do. I think especially in the pandemic, maybe they were facing retirement a little earlier than they planned. And, now they're starting a new chapter. And so that's why I want to connect these people together, give them a vibrant social life. Other numbers that I put on here. So when I send out a newsletter, which is monthly, and I kind of outline everything going on in the program for that month, and then when I send out individual events or a couple events at a time, or sometimes I'll send out a week at a glance, I try to be very conservative with the amount of emails I send out and try to make it meaningful so no one unsubscribes. And to date, no one has unsubscribed. Which I unsubscribe from emails all the time, so that's why I'm tuning that horn. And the engagement rate of these emails that I send is 75 to 80%. And if anyone's not in the marketing industry, that's an incredibly high, very captive audience, because 20% of an open rate is considered successful. I have a marketing job. I've been at a law firm for 17 years. I'm thrilled if 15 to 20% of referrers that I email open the email, because I've been told that's the industry standard. It doesn't feel thrilling, but it's like, okay, I got to some of them. This is incredible that, such a high amount of people are interested week after week. So it just speaks to, the need for recreation and socialization for the seniors in the town. I could see, based on this program that I use called Constant Contact, who opens it, who clicks, who registers, who forwards. So it gives me a lot of good data. Anywhere between like a dozen people to like 25 or 30 people will come to the events, and I put in there unique participants. And what I mean by unique is, I don't want you to think it's just like a club of the same 25 people that are bored and coming to the same, or coming to different events. It's not that at all. It's based on interest. So some of the people that come to music might not come to something else. There's overlap, sure, but it's a wide reach. It's not just the same people over and over again. We have 3 weekly events every single week. There's bridge, there's walking, which is this morning, and there's creative writing, a creative writing group that meets at the library. There's one bi-monthly event, which is music. So for 2 hours, twice a month, first Thursday and the third Tuesday of every month, we meet at the library. There's a big group of really talented musicians. They bring their instruments and they play. And I just do nothing. I just oversee it. I have no musical talent, but it's one of our most popular events because it's very entertaining, and the musicians that are coming out are just so appreciative to have the space, to have the time together, and that led to the concert that we just did at Christmas in Clinton. We performed on the lawn of the Chamber of Commerce. They all brought their instruments. We had a practice. We made a set list. It went really well. One monthly event is cooking. Probably with more money in the budget, I would do more than that. I would do more than once a month because it's very popular. We have a chef that comes. She's a traveling chef. She brings everything. She brings fresh ingredients. She brings Bunsen burners. She brings everything you need. She can come up with a recipe. We all cook it together. She does an instruction, so it's like a cooking lesson. Then everyone cooks, and then we sit and we eat it. And that's an important aspect of it, obviously. We stay, we sit, and we eat, and everybody really, really loves that. So it's very popular. So far, all of this, I don't know if it sounds like a lot. Feels like a lot to me. If I was just attending them, that's one thing, but there's a lot of work that goes into the admin of it, the marketing of it. I don't do anything halfway, so I want things to look nice. I want things to look professional, sophisticated. I don't just shoot out an email. I brand everything. I'm really treating this as like a startup, not like a, I don't know what to compare it to. It's not like, to me, it's not like a club or a charity. It's a startup, it's a business, and I think that's why we've been successful getting the word out. So if you go to the next page, I just put in like a fun little way all the programs that we've had to date. Like I mentioned, the walking, the bridge, the music. We've done painting. We've done a couple of mosaic workshops that have been really popular. We've done tea, trail hikes. Kayaking was huge. Everybody came out for that. We had a great day on the water. We'll definitely do that again next summer. Recently, we had a hearing and cognition seminar. A lot of folks came to that. There's things I try to plan that have a service component in it, that if maybe a senior had to look it up and go somewhere, they'd pay money, but in this case it's free. So we did flu vaccines here, but the hearing and cognition seminar was really interesting because people had come to hear an audiologist speak, and then she did private screenings in that little tiny tutoring room in the back of the library, which normally if someone was going into her office, they pay $75. It's a half-hour evaluation. But it was free, and there was no catch. And I think it's important to offer those kinds of things to the seniors in our town. So I always have that in the back of my mind. There's a lot of like multi-generational things that I try to do. We did something in connection with, your son was there, with the Cub Scouts, and we had seniors paired with Cub Scouts, and we decorated reusable bags for, like the tote bags for the food pantry for the holidays, and we donated those, and we painted rocks. so it was a little bit like service oriented too. And it was really nice because I separated the kids, you know, so that they each got paired with adults, and they chatted, and it was just so nice. It went so well, and the kids took it really seriously, and I was happy to see that. So I like to also connect, you know, those different groups in town. There's also a pen pal program that I'm doing with the kids at Joel School. They're 3rd grade, and they're writing the residents at Ocean Meadow. So they just started that at Thanksgiving time. So it's really cute, exchanging letters about themselves, drawings, photos, you know, to what extent we can, like for safety reasons, but like group photos and stuff. And so that's been great. Some of the outreach efforts I wanted to mention that we did in the first 6 months that I think contributed to the success. You know, I didn't have a model to go off of. I didn't really look at other senior centers on the shoreline because that's not really what I want to, I'm not trying to recreate a program like that. And the upside to that is now those senior centers have been reaching out to some of the vendors I've been using, like the chef I mentioned, and to their friends asking what we're doing here. So I think that's a great, you know, metric for success. So the program kicked off, we had a meet and greet at the library, maybe about 45, 50 people came. And we did it in the beginning, and the key to that was there's some people, there's a lot of library lovers, I know because I'm on the board of the library, that are, of course, that demographic that wouldn't think of themselves or consider themselves senior. So that was a great opportunity to cross-promote because it was at the library, they would come. And then once they came, and then they learned a little bit about it and found out it's not just a bunch of people like knitting Afghans, they were it. And so I got a lot of subscribers that day.
Not that there's anything wrong with it.
Yeah. I did a summer dining promotion in the summer that I had sent out to the database where I had just got 5 restaurants to sign on. They were offering a discount if you mentioned Clinton Senior Connection, and that was kind of just a way, I kind of marketed it as a way to celebrate the kickoff of the program and the seniors in town. In October, we were Organization of the Month at Stop and Shop, and so they have a program that they sell the, you know, if you forget your bag at the store, you buy a reusable bag, but if you buy the specific one that's labeled Give Back, a portion of the proceeds goes back to the charity that they sponsored. I knew it wasn't going to be like a big moneymaker or anything, but the point was I wanted that in-store signage so that when people are checking out, you know, a lot of times if like a daughter goes with their older mother or something, like, oh, Mom, look at the sign. It said, what is this senior program in town? So I think that was effective. It was up all month. 54 bags were purchased. Like I said, I didn't know what to expect, so that was nice. But more of it is just, you know, you can't exist in a vacuum and only be on the town website or only be emailing. I don't want to be emailing these same 250 people. Of course, that will grow. I know every week more people subscribe, but you still have to think about where people are kind of, you know, dwelling, that you could just kind of like be in their face about, like, because once they find out about it, you know, I think that they will come. And, you know, to that end, Clinton, this past year, we did the scarecrow contest, which was really fun. So I did senior scarecrows. You probably noticed in the kayak in the town hall. I was voted 2nd place, no big deal. And then, like I mentioned, we had the Christmas in Clinton holiday concert. So that was really fun. Also, like as soon as the program got announced, before I even had an email address or anything, they ran a story in Harbor News, so that really helped. In that interview, I remember I asked Carl, like, do I have an email address? What will it be? Because I wanted to give that out. As soon as I did, like that first week, like 30, 50 people probably. I mean, a lot of those people were pickleball, but the ones that were giving me ideas of what they wanted and also volunteering to help, like seniors that also wanted to help. And I kind of just ran with that, and I didn't say no to much, and that was kind of the birth of some of the earlier programs like Mosaics and stuff that I mentioned. And I've kept that momentum up. The last page of the handout, Clinton Events asked me to do like a schedule of events Mary too. Cued me in, so that was nice of you. But the problem is I didn't have, you know, a solid list to send them back in October that wouldn't be published till December. And then things change all the time, and so I thought that would be a waste of, space in their publication. So instead I asked if I could just write something like retrospective, like looking back at the past few months of the program, and she said that would be great. So you could read that right up, and I mean, that's really from my heart, based on the experience so far, what it's been like. And that's about it. Like I mentioned, I'm posting on Facebook. I have an Instagram account for Clinton Senior Connection. Anytime someone asks me for a meeting, I go. I've met with the chief of police. The Congregational Church wanted to meet to talk about, again, intergenerational things. If someone asks me to come by their insurance office or wherever, I go. I bring packets and magnets and all that. And so that's pretty much been the first 6 months. I think, my strengths are marketing and branding, consistency, frequent communication, and comfort in multiple formats. And that's just rinse, repeat, over and over. That's how you grow a program. I think that it's been successful. And the last page is just, you could read that on your own. It's just basically what I've mentioned so far. But I think of this program as I call it a mobile senior center. It's in the absence of a physical senior center, but if you want to make it look like it was on purpose, a mobile senior center is a great idea. We have tons of available space in the town. Seniors do not mind going, around town when it's a dynamic, engaging program. So instead of spending a lot of town dollars to keep the lights on in a building, I think you put it into the programming. My paid hours, again, I know this is the fiscal budget we're in. Nobody knew what the program would be like. No one knew, right? How much time would be needed. And of course, I do think I dedicate a little bit more time out of, I want it to succeed. I know I could just cut it off and be like, nope, that's my hours for the week. But, it's hard to do that, like I said, if you're treating it like a startup and you really want it to just grow. So with more paid hours in the next fiscal budget, it's going to be a lot of this, but hopefully reaching more people. And that's about it. Even before a senior center, I would say group transportation would be awesome. To get there someday. I know it won't be overnight, but those are just kinds of things that I think about and would like you to think about, on the horizon. If senior housing is looking likely, as we've been talking about, you have the program as a selling point to encourage people, stay in town, age in place. There's things to do here. Because at first when I got hired, everybody was like, oh, well, I have to go here to do this, and I have to go this and that, and I don't want to go to the estuary because it's 2 towns over, and, so I get that. But now that we're offering things here, and, like I said, the program will only grow, I just think it's a really big selling point. So we have the momentum. I want to keep it going. I want to engage the older adults that we have because it's a fifth of the town. Carl's gotten emails from some of the specific people that have come to the program that just out of the goodness of their heart emailed him, which is really nice. And one of the vendors I use too, who said some nice things if you're interested. And that's about it. I printed, I had a couple pages of pictures because I just thought it's nicer to see pictures of the activities and me tell you about them. And the first copy, my printer just is nope, the color just, so you could just pass them around. And that's about it, if anyone has any questions.
Anyone have any questions for Christina?
So, I know this is over age 55 and up, and you have about 250 people that you're reaching out to. Would you say the majority of the people are closer to 55 or older?
You'd be surprised. No, not really. I don't think many are actually close to 55, but there definitely are some. And of course, a lot of it's guessing on my part.
Yeah.
But I was shocked. The woman in the picture with me on that last page.
Yeah.
I had been walking with her for weeks and weeks, right? And then we found out she was 91. It was her birthday. The day we took the picture was her birthday. And she was turning 91. And this woman books. She keeps up. We walk almost 2 miles. So it's really surprising. I would say maybe, I can't even guess on what the average age would be because it's hard to tell.
I would say right around 70.
Yeah, that's what I would think, and then there's a good amount on both
you
sides.
see some of the events like kayaking and stuff, I would guess.
They really were. You would think, but I'm telling you, no, that was definitely an event that was
A lot of people would wanted to try it forever.
60s,
Yeah.
70s.
Yeah,
People were
definitely.
like, oh, I've always wanted to, but I'm nervous. And I was saying, no, this is the time to do it because you have a guide. Someone's literally like helping you into the kayak. I mean, we did it at Indian River Marina, so that's a very easy place to get in and out of. Once you're sitting in the kayak, I mean, you're not like on rapids. So it was
Yeah.
very calm. You'd be surprised. There was
Yeah.
yeah.
So you're connect. First of all, it's amazing. You're doing tons of energy and ideas. Great job. So you're connected to this group probably better than anybody. So like you said, we're put out an RFP for possibly for senior housing.
Yeah.
Do you hear that from them, from that group? Do you
Yeah.
hear that need?
Yeah.
Like we don't have a place to live?
Yeah, well, not necessarily, it's not like they come out and say they don't have a place to live, although over the few months, there were people that were facing like the eviction on Waterside Lane and a couple other things where people reached out, and I was told by Human Services, like, hey, that waiting list is years long for them to get into something else that they would need. But like singles and couples that are just truly, aging and maybe looking to downsize, yeah, they look at other towns. They look at the
Yeah.
condos in Madison or, because there's not as many options and people know that,
Yeah.
And I'm like a big proponent of like, I think our town has so much to offer. Like
Yeah.
the residents, the coastline, I want to age here.
Yeah.
When my kids are grown and stuff, I wouldn't want to leave. So I think that if there were, more housing, that would be really appealing to people who are downsizing from, a big house that they don't want to take care of anymore. My parents just did it. And we tried, I begged my parents to come to Clinton. But they stayed in Hampton because there's so many more properties to choose from.
Yeah.
And they regret it now, but the housing,
But they're getting the best of Clinton.
I make them
They were
drive.
kayaking.
They came kayaking
Very
and they're in their
nice.
late 70s, so yeah.
That's great. And last question, you said group transportation. If not that we can do it, but
Yeah.
if you were to ask us, here are a couple things that I really would love to have, my wish list.
Yeah.
What would they be?
Yeah, I would definitely say like some kind of transportation for large groups and a driver, however that, I know we'd have to look at how other centers do it, and I know the estuary has it. But like, for example, I got a group tickets for a Christmas show at Goodspeed in a couple of weeks. And I'm like, well, I guess we'll just meet at the back of Town Hall and carpool. Like, I would love it to be a little bit more professional and, have like a van that everyone gets into and stuff. Or even if there was a little bit more in the budget to rent things as needed, that would be awesome. The thing like I've mentioned to people is the cost to run the program it's surprisingly low because first of all, vendors that are offering services like the chef or whoever, they will automatically discount things because it's for seniors. They also want to do that. And a lot of things are free. Like the writer that facilitates our creative writing group is a professional writer that relocated here during the pandemic. She's a screenwriter, she's published. She comes every week for free. Like if you ask, it's surprising the things that can just be rolled in. Big Y will give me a gift card when I ask to go towards the food. Like I said, we purchased for the cooking club because everything's fresh. So if you know where to ask and how to keep costs down, that part's not that hard. It's more the time it takes to put into a program, especially when it's just me. But that's okay. I like it. I like things my way, so I excel when it's just me. But I do. I'm not even counting the hours. It's just got to be done, But like I'm probably working double every week, and there's other things I could think of technology-wise and stuff. But then there's also, like I said, I'm very resourceful, so. There's other groups in town that have those things that are happy to lend them to. Like, I needed one of those giant speakers when we did the Cub Connection thing. Well, Park and Rec had it. So, and then the library has the, the podium and the projector and the audio and everything. So like, it made sense to do the hearing seminar there. So I don't really think you need to spend the money to like, replicate what we already have if there's groups that are already, working with me. So transportation would probably be.
So the Estuary Council are not willing to provide a bus if you request it, or?
If they're doing something and we want to piggyback on it, I was told that's okay. Like, even if, let's say they have a bus, like when they were going to the Big 8, and they had a couple spots left, they were like, but if you got like another, 28 to 40 people that would fill another bus, we could do that. But that, first of all, there wasn't the time to promote it, and it just wasn't likely,
But in the future, would they be willing to supplement? Because they're getting the grant funding for the
Yeah.
bus, and there's opportunity for the town to get the grant funding to pick up a bus similar to Cheshire. But it seems like, we're contributing to the Estuary Council if there's a opportunity for them in the future to provide a bus for a programming.
Yeah, like
That'd be
ideally, what you're saying, and is what I would like, is if I was having something where I said, hey, I really need transportation for that day, to see if they would, that I'm not sure, but are you saying that it should be, like, should I expect it?
I think it's a conversation with
Yeah,
them.
yeah.
It's also the town having a conversation with the Estuary Council as to our expectation on a yearly basis as
Yeah,
to services.
right.
I think this is something that needs to be discussed during the budget process, maybe reallocating what we contribute to the estuary and
And I
bringing
think
some
we'll
of
meet
it
with them,
closer
but
to
it's-
home,
But
so.
it's also more about what the services they provide, because they are adaptive as well. In the
Yeah.
past, we've been able to
Exactly
say to
what
them,
services they
this isn't
provide.
what our community wants right now, can you please look at these services that we need to expand upon?
Yeah.
Or we need to evaluate, like Carol said, we need to evaluate during the budget process what
Right.
it is that the community needs. But it is a per capita fee that goes to them, so I'm not sure how much flexibility there is within
Well, when they
that as well.
report on what it is that they bring to Clinton, it's pretty amorphous. It's,
Well,
I'd like to see
that's
more
not true 'cause of
concrete.
The food
uh,
program, that's substantial in terms of what we need for the food program, the meals. That's a huge component of it, and if that disappeared, that would really impact our community severely.
But we haven't had a report from them for probably 2 years, so,
And if before that happens,
yes,
You get it every year.
you get it.
if you want me to have a conversation before you guys meet for budgeting and get a little bit more clear on the parameters of, like you said, just posing like, if I do an event, can you provide transportation? I could find out. But I did go there, we met, we had a lovely meeting. We didn't talk much after that.
So in the past as well, we had
But
the opportunity.
we can figure that out as, in the future, so. Well, Christina, thank you so much for enlightening us and
Thank you.
for
Thanks for your
everything
time.
that you do, because I know it's way more than 12 hours a week.
Thanks, yeah.
Yeah, so, thank you,
Thanks.
and we'll see you again in the upcoming months.
Yeah, I'm gonna go to walking now.
In the rain.
Jeez, are you up at the outlet center? What time is it? Up
We
at the
walk, yeah,
outlet center?
outlets,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
even in the rain.
All right,
Thanks for your
okay.
time, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, item number 6 is the 2023 meeting calendar. And I don't have that proposed
No,
calendar.
because there was a discussion on time, I wasn't sure.
Okay,
if you
so
wanted to-
this would be the time to discuss the topic that Dennis brought up last meeting, that 7 o'clock starts for our third Wednesday evening meeting, wanted to be addressed, discussed whether to move the time up a little bit, and what is the opinion? Anybody, any comments?
So, so I tried Dennis, but I have practice from, getting here at 7 is gonna be hard. I have practice on,
You mean 6:30, right?
Like I told you Sunday, Chris.
yeah.
I'll
5 to
withdraw
6:30.
that suggestion because it seems like it's gonna be sort of a inconvenience for a couple of the members, and there's no use changing something that's already successful.
It's funny, 7 o'clock used to seem like right on time. Now it does seem late. It seems like, why don't we get cracking?
I know.
But yeah, we have to be sure everybody can get there,
Right,
so.
yeah, there's no, especially in the winter, you know, with the weather and all. Let's not disturb something that's already,
Okay, well,
That's how I feel.
how does
you.
everybody feel about
appreciate
that?
it.
Keeping it at 7 o'clock start time? Any
That accommodates
objections?
everybody, that we have to do it that way.
yeah, I mean, you know, it's easy for me, you know.
Okay, all right, so moving on then, item number 7, Chairman's Report. Other than saying that Christmas in Clinton was delightful and we were blessed with perfect weather, that would be all that I have to contribute to the discussion. I guess Chris is up for his first day in Hartford, and I'll be curious to hear how everything evolves up there. So, moving on to item number 8, the town manager's report.
So you have my written report, some highlights in there. Town planner Abby Pearsall started on Monday, November 28th. She came back this week, so that's good.
Yes.
So she's definitely rolled up her sleeves and is getting into the middle of everything in land use. It's drinking from a fire hose at present, but she seems to be doing well for the first week. The $500,000 STEEP grant, the paperwork was received from the state. I completed that. You guys approved a resolution at a prior meeting. It went back up to Hartford, and we'll be waiting for a grant agreement. Again, there continues to be a sense of urgency of getting the money, or at least the ability to commit to Motorola to purchase the dispatch consoles, but we can't commit to spending any money until we get that signed grant agreement back, which includes town signature, DEEP commissioner, or Department of Public Safety commissioner's signature, and the Attorney General's signature. Clinton Harbor, I reported last time that a letter of support was from Congressman Courtney's office to the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, asking them to look at trying to work into their annual work plan either for 2023 or 2024, dredging in Clinton Harbor to do either the hot spots, the areas where there's a lot of sediment that have built up that is causing navigation challenges, or the full-blown dredge of the whole thing. So Army Corps responded and, sort of saying they're looking at their funding, not making a commitment one way or the other than to continue moving forward with environmental work, which is sampling the sediments to understand what's in there. So the environmental work will keep going. We have no indication as to whether or not the actual work would be done. Congressman Courtney's office suggested that the town send a letter to Army Corps, also amplifying what the congressman sent in. And before I send that, I just want to make sure that the council's on board with it so that I can say that, council unanimously wants to see something happen. So assuming you're all on board with that, I will send a letter to Army Corps to that effect. A couple other items. We've been looking at the bridges that we have in the queue for additional work to be done, but which we have not moved to either put into a bond resolution to get public approval for whatever the local match would be, or to push into the state bridge program or the federal bridge program. The state is amping up the local bridge program by taking some of the infrastructure money that's come in from the federal government and taking what used to be a 50-50 program and making it a 100% program. So the state would pay for the whole bridge rather than us having to have a local match. So that's a positive. We would have to front the cash because it would be a reimbursement program, but we would not have to have actually committed long-term money. So the way to finance it would be using bond anticipation notes, which does not require going to a referendum because it's like a loan. So we could finance the bridge projects, move them along, get 100% funding. It does not seem to be a program that a lot of towns are interested in because you give up a control to the DOT to design the bridge, which in two of these cases we don't really care because it's just an overglorified culvert, but, so the time frame looks like it would be closer to 24, 25 fiscal year before anything would be moving. I guess the most important bridge out of the lot is the Waterside Lane Bridge, which is the one that connects to the beach. It's a historic bridge, so there's a little bit more back and forth with the DOT on that one because it would be obviously a little bit more of an involved bridge project than Ben Merrill Road culvert in Country Village are, it's culverts. It's not really a bridge, but somehow it's classified as one. So that's something we continue to work on. It will be a future item in order to try and figure out addressing the last of our kind of bad bridges and doing it without long-term commitment of permanent debt. Other grant updates, the partnership we had with Ducks Unlimited to do a bridge replacement on Beach Park Road as part of improving the water, exchange of water that takes place during the tidal motion. We did receive over $500,000 for engineering. We were going for $5 million also for construction. The construction grant was not moved forward because we're not shovel-ready. So to be shovel-ready, we actually have to finish the engineering piece of it. There was strong interest in it from National Fish and Wildlife. They've obviously made a financial commitment already to pay for the engineering. So we'll move the engineering along, get that done to design the bridge. That should put us closer to being shovel-ready, and we are hoping to be successful in their next funding round, which would be in the spring of 2023. And then the only other item as an update for you, 36R Killingworth Turnpike, that parcel of land that you moved along for possible sale. Property owners the abutting property owners have all been informed. Deadline of January 9th was put out to them to get back to me with commitment to purchase or not purchase and when they can close and all the rest. So that would be something that would come back to the council early in 2023 for next steps. And that's it.
Okay.
Are those the only 3 bridges that we have hanging over our heads?
Those are the only 3 bridges that have poor grades when the state did the inspection, and they were not included in prior bond authorizations. So kind of the projects that have been going now were bad, but then put forward through either the federal bridge program or the state bridge program, and the public approved the town's financial commitment to it. So these would be, they were outside of the bucket that was approved previously.
Okay, anybody else? Questions for Carl? All right, thank you, Carl. Agenda item number 9, council discussion. Does anybody have anything they'd like to bring up at this point?
I would love to bring up another ARPA workshop, so is it too close? Because there were some questions that we had last time,
Yep.
and a
Is
couple
it-
of us took a look at some of the proposed projects, and we had something that we'd like to add.
Can we schedule another workshop, or are we, we're not glued into just a finalization discussion?
No, the way we left it was that we would have another workshop and
Okay.
discuss the questions that
All
were
right,
raised in the
so
last
is
one and
everybody
everything else.
ready to bring further questions in or discussion?
Mary can poll for a date.
Do you want to just meet it like
Do you want
6?
to combine it with our
before
next meeting?
Oh,
The
that's,
night meeting?
that's a great
Combine it with the
idea.
next meeting.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, so meet at 6 before our next Wednesday evening meeting.
I probably can't do that, but you can go ahead.
A lot of it is Parks and Rec.
Yeah.
Okay, so that would be the 24th or 21st, I think. December 21st, I believe, is our next meeting. So 6 o'clock for an ARPA discussion / workshop.
21st.
21st, okay, thank you. Number 10, Town Council Committee Liaison Reports. Does anybody have anything to report?
Not yet.
Okay, well then, moving on to item 11. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Motion made.
Harry, second? And all in favor?
Aye.
Very good. Thank you all for coming, and thank you, Christina, for making this more than a 5-minute meeting.